This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on successful conclusion of World Food India 2023, transforming India into the food basket of the world. The participants are Nirendra Dev, senior journalist, and Ishan Mittal, anchor.
Welcome to Spotlight. This is Ishan Mittal, and today we will discuss the successful conclusion of World Food India 2023, which was held with the objective of transforming India into the food basket of the world. And on this topic, we will discuss with our expert, senior journalist, Mr. Nirendra Dev. Mr. Dev, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Sir, how is India expected to be the food basket of the world? And what is the importance of the World Food India drive in this respect?
First of all, to look at your question about the World Food India Meet 2023, I think we should first understand and appreciate the fact that India's food processing sector has emerged as a sunrise industry, especially in the context of last 9 years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the meet rightly said that since 2014, India is able to attract about rupees 50,000 crore in the FDI sector, in this sector. That shows our position of strength in the industry today in the global context. Beyond Asia or sub-regional context, in the global context, India is an emerging force now in the food processing sector. Now, this sector, we must understand, crucially connects Indian farmers to both domestic and international markets. So these are also related to the reform strategies of the government. Without reforms, you cannot have small farmers from a village in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar connect to the global market. At the same time, when we take a closer look at the industry, this industry is the fifth largest industry in terms of production, consumption, and even exports. We have also another important data here. I think it will be relevant for the listeners that export of processed food has increased as high as 150% in the last 9 years. This is an area of satisfaction. Now, in the context of International Year of Millet, we should take note of what Prime Minister said even at the meet itself. He said that millet is an integral part of India's super food basket. So these are the things, which take things forward. So I think this meet was very successfully and well organized, and it will go a long way in helping small farmers, the industry players, and overall all the stakeholders.
How has production-linked incentive scheme for food processing contributed to the kind of development that we are seeing in this industry? You mentioned that the exports have risen phenomenally. And what is the role of the ongoing projects under Agri India Fund, focusing on post-harvest infrastructure?
Now let us look at the millet sector itself. The traditional food grains of Bharat like jowar and bajra are now recognized even by the United Nations as the most nutritious food. Once upon a time, this was considered as the food of the poor. Millet is actually now a guarantee for food nutrition, food security, and also farmers' prosperity. Thus, it is important to understand that the government initiatives have ensured certain things. We have not only strengthened or boosted our food processing sector, overall the scene has become of optimism today. The farmers earlier faced plethora of problems in terms of millet cultivation. There was non-availability of food quality, lack of technology, no subsidies. Now all these are changed. Now this is turning into an advantage for the farmers. Now, when you come to the meat detailed points of fund utilization and all you are asking, overall, I think the farmers and the small players in the food processing industry are very optimistic. They are looking for greater partnership. They want to explore investment opportunities in the overall agriculture and food sector. And the conference we are referring to, there was one very important discussion. The subject was reverse buyer-seller meet. So that was an interesting, where, interaction between farmers, professionals, other stakeholders took place. And people were looking quite for optimism in the meeting.
What is the role of FPOs and how does it help to attain the broader inclusion of cultivators, especially small cultivators, and women's contribution, amplifying women's contribution in the food processing sector?
Prime Minister referred to three major pillars about farming and agriculture sector and food processing sector in this conference itself. This was like a guru mantra, I will say. The three pillars for growth are small farmers, small industries, and also the role of women, as you are also pointing out. In this context, I will say Prime Minister was right in highlighting the significance of farmers' produce organizations. They have a role to encourage farmers to come forward for certain production and also giving them scope for garnering larger profit. The small farmers are now today in a different world. They have high optimism from the government, and at the same time they are looking at the industry outside. And what will the industry do? What are the industries doing? The new things industry is doing. This is bringing us to the issue of how government has encouraged and acknowledged the demand for packaged food, and this has overall helped the small entrepreneurs and the startups.
So he talked about food and food security also. How does that tie into this emphasis on food security and food processing when there are wars going on in the backdrop? Especially the Russia-Ukraine war had an effect on the prices of commodities across the world, and India also faced that.
If the capacity of food processing sector has increased now in Indian context from 12 lakh ton to over 2 lakh ton. Okay, India stands at the 7th position with overall export value of $50,000 million in agricultural products. This is giving us an idea of where things stand. Now come into the micro level and macro level and about the policy matter. You must have noted the Prime Minister in the conference drew attention to the organization about 2 lakh micro enterprises working in the food industry. He also highlighted that how government is encouraging one district, one product, that scheme. So on all those things, India is taking necessary steps and giving a boost to the overall thing.
And so he talked about, it was a very interesting line, taste and technology, and transforming India's food scenario. So if you could shed light on that.
Technology, he said this is an era of technology and fusion with taste of the people and taste of the food. See, technology is not only, it is a happening thing, it is a must. We must link it to every aspect of our life today. So how technology helping? It can impact and help farmers, small players to make profits, to ensure quality assurance. And then it comes technology. We must also talk about government scheme about production linked incentive, the PLI scheme that was encouraged in the food processing sector. When a newcomer, when a stakeholder is finding that his production value, his production methodology is being linked to some kind of encouragement, there is a scheme for it. There is a scheme from the government side for it. So now he will feel more encouraged to adapt to new technologies and innovation. Now comes the overall scenario of food sector and also economic growth sector. Now see, you mentioned about COVID, you mentioned about Ukraine war. These have definitely impacted overall economy and also impacted the food sector. But at the same time, I must say, no use being pessimistic. We should be looking forward and we should be looking optimistically at things. I'd also like to say the economy does not grow out of nothing, you see. And on this, the Modi government has done well, and reform has been carried out in multiple sectors. Recently, I met some farm experts, farmers from Northeast. They were excited about developments like creation of agri-export policy. They say this is for the first time this has happened. Then what was highlighted was that the development of nationwide logistic and infrastructure. Now this has helped about maybe 100 district level hubs connecting to the global market. These are the changes we are seeing. These are what making small farmers today looking towards the government and the industry with a lot of enthusiasm. This is the changing game. And about the conference, I will say, in the first World India Food Summit, there was a commitment of rupees 75,000 crore. And out of that, rupees 20,000 crore has already come, has already penetrated the market. See, this is a good success rate in terms of, because in the conference, you don't have people directly coming with the money. They will come with the proposals and then the details will be worked out. So similarly, even in this year's conference, there is a commitment of rupees 75 to 80,000 crore for the food processing industry in India. I think overall takeaway is a very encouraging scenario.
Yes, sir, and also the fact that the Prime Minister mentioned that how products from a specific state find visibility across the globe, such as soy milk powder from Madhya Pradesh and Kirkichu apple from Ladakh or Cavendish banana from Punjab. So it's also providing a certain kind of visibility, and if you could link that to the One Nation, One District, One Product scheme, how is that helping the food sector?
You should also look at another very important reform strategy adopted by the government under Prime Minister's leadership. It is the movement of cooperatives. In the cooperative movement, what has happened, you see, they have been given, cooperatives are now enjoying the status of food producer organizations. This is a reform strategy. There has been a policy to give them tax relief also, those people who are coming with in forming cooperatives. Now see, what is the importance of cooperatives in rural areas? In far-flung areas, farmers or the small farmers, they know one thing, that if they struggle something or try to do something single-handedly, they may not get the optimum result. So they always try to team up. Generally, it was very informal. Say in Eastern India, in many parts of the Northeast also, it was very informal. People will know each other. They'll come, 3-4 families come together and try to do something. But now Cooperative Ministry has given a very important boost to these efforts by their policy. They are calling it Sahakar Se Samriddhi. So it is actually, if you translate it into English, the meaning will be somewhat like prosperity and cooperation, something like that. So that is, these are the things which farmers would like to look at. But earlier, this kind of small, what looks today very normal kind of a thing, that those encouragements were not there. Cooperative movement was there and it was highly successful in Gujarat. You see, what is Amul product today? It's an industry by itself. Why not such a thing come up in Northeast about bamboo? There are a lot of bamboo cooperatives coming up these days after this policy was introduced 2-3 years back. And people are adapting to these schemes. It is going to be game changer in the overall scenario.
The Prime Minister also importantly talked about linking food habits and food security to the ancient sustainable food practices that we have, like eating according to the season, eating in a balanced fashion, having diversity on our plate, the concept of yatha annam tatha mannam. So if you could shed light on that, the broader ethics.
Earlier when I referred to the millets, the bajra and jowar issues, those are also part of that, making the plate balanced. Modern days, particularly in urban areas, food culture of people are, if we say it is bad, it is also a mild way to put it actually. Because people go for only 1 or 2 items and there is no variety. There is no sufficient intake of protein and other carbohydrates and other products. So people generally, supposing somebody is going to a hotel even to celebrate his anniversary, is supposing he orders only chicken. And then what happens? The food, the dish he is having with his family, it is not balanced food. He has wasted money, he's invested a lot in that, invested a lot of time. The food package that he's bringing in for the family is not balanced. Those kind of correction and food habits have to change. So people have to develop, even for morning breakfast, people should make a routine. I will have this kind of ingredients or cereals, or boiled fruits as part of breakfast. No, these are important to link it to the healthy society, sustainable society, sustainable agriculture overall scenario.
Yes, sir, and technology has definitely played a role not only in cutting the post-harvest losses, but also packaging food in a way that it's sustainable. And how has technology helped women, like in the food processing sector? If you could shed some light on that.
Women have got important role to play overall scenario of food processing. And for long, women used to do it very isolated, far away from the system, without adequate knowledge. Now these things are changing. Because of multiple steps being taken at various levels, from district level, at the block level, and also, of course, the central level. Now the policies government is encourage women also to take it up defined and structured way. I'll come back to the scheme I mentioned about production link incentive. I think this is a real game changer which will help the sector and of course the women.
Thank you so much.
You were listening to a discussion on successful conclusion of World Food India 2023, transforming India into the food basket of the world. The participants were Nirendra Dev, senior journalist, and Ishan Mittal, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928 9094 044.